Good morning and welcome to Rational Thinking. This week we'll be looking at what's taking place in the UK election. Christine Lagarde outlines her vision for the ECB, and then we'll be taking a look at the tensions between China and the US. Last week saw the pound have its biggest weekly rise in over 2 months, as there were increased expectations that the Conservative Party will win this week's election with a strong majority, giving way to a more certain outcome on Brexit. This is seen as a pound positive because a decisive result and a subsequent passing of a withdrawal deal would boost the economy and allow us to look past Brexit. The appreciation in sterling was mainly due to a YouGov poll which was released on Tuesday, which showed the Labour Party had lost further ground on the Conservative Party. Alongside this, we also saw that the probability of a Conservative majority had risen above 70% for the first time. With only a few days to go, polls from the weekend also show that the Conservatives have now got a commanding lead of 15 points over the Labour Party. Last week, Christine Lagarde made her debut appearance as ECB President at the European Parliament and gave the euro a timely boost. This came from the fact that she said that the ECB will be resolute in restoring Eurozone price stability under her presidency, and also stressing that her upcoming strategy review will be wide-ranging, including climate change as well as inflation. Lagarde acknowledged the side effects of the ECB's ultra-loose policy up until this point, and said that the review will try and gain a better understanding of how the longer-term trends will affect the central bank, and also what longer-term trends they can actually control. She also mentioned that inflation had yet to return to the goal of 2%. It was below, but still fairly close to 2%. And this comes despite years of pumping liquidity into the financial system. And the ECB itself has become increasingly concerned that its policies might not actually be able to work, and in fact it could threaten the financial stability. The dollar suffered last week after Donald Trump said a trade deal with China may now have to wait until after the 2020 presidential election. This surprise statement reversed the recent optimism surrounding a trade deal, especially as market participants have been waiting for an outcome for quite some time. The United States is actually poised to impose an additional 15% tariff on around $156 billion worth of Chinese products on December the 15th. Despite this, the dollar actually had a strong end to the week, as data showed that the US economy had created more jobs than expected in November. The figure itself actually had increased by 266,000 jobs, beating expectations of 180,000. That strong non-farm payroll figure provided some respite for the dollar, despite the fact that we've recently had some soft data, and obviously the pessimism from the Chinese trade talks had, to this point, kept quite a lot of pressure on the dollar. This week is expected to be a very busy one in the currency markets, with the Thursday election result coming out of the UK being the one that's expected to dominate the headlines. In the Eurozone, on Tuesday, we have German ZEW survey, which indicates economic sentiment. And then on Thursday, we have a raft of data. First of all, we have the German Harmonised Index of Consumer Prices year on year. That's expected to remain at 1.2%. We then have the ECB interest rate decision expected to remain at 0%, and the deposit rate decision, again, expected to remain at minus 0.5%. And then we also have the ECB policy statement and prevailing press conference. In the dollar, it's another busy week. On Wednesday, we have Consumer Price Index month on month, expected to remain at 0.2%. And then we have the year-on-year figure, which again, expected to remain at 2.3%. In the evening, we then have the Fed interest rate decision. No surprises expected. We expect the figure to remain at 1.75%. And then we have the policy statement and press conference to follow. At the end of the week on Friday, we then have the release of the retail sales number, which is expected to increase to 0.4% from a previous 0.3%. Thank you for tuning into this week's Rational Thinking. Due to the election that's taking place on Thursday, the corporate desk hours will be slightly different. We'll be open 24 hours, with the desk being manned from Thursday morning all the way through to Friday 6 p.m. If you have any currency queries or any planning that you'd like to discuss, please feel free to get in touch.